All right, now that we're warmed up with our cars, I know I'm warmed up. I broke a sweat, and it's, as most of you probably know, it's about 37 degrees in here. So we're good to go. I'm going to keep you in that quadruped position for right now, but we're going to open up into a little bit wider knee position. So we're going wide knee, and then we're going to go down onto our forearms, and we're going to sit our hips back towards our heels until we feel a stretch on that inner thigh in the groin adductor area. Once we feel that, we're going to sit here for a few seconds, let it loosen up just a little bit, and now we're going to get into our pails and rails. When we get to our pails, we're going to ramp up our intensity with each deep breath. I'll cue you through that. We're going to start by pressing our knees down into the floor. You can use some towels folded up, some bath towels, beach towels. If you have pads at home, you can use those as well. You probably do not, but towels will work just fine. And so we're going to start squeezing our knees down into the floor at about a 20% effort there. Squeezing using the inner thigh, groin area, feeling those muscles start to work. And now we're going to ramp it up, 40% effort, a little bit harder. 60% effort, squeezing those knees down into the floor a little bit harder. 80% effort, squeezing even harder, feel those groin and adductor muscles working. And now we're going safest, greatest effort, driving those knees down into the floor, squeezing as hard as you can. A little harder, a little harder. We're going to keep going. In 5 seconds, we're going into our rails, which remember we're going opposites. So rails, we're pushing those knees up and out, squeezing the outer glute, outer thigh muscles, trying to lift those knees up and away. Squeezing tight, lifting those knees up off the floor. Lift, 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 and relax. So now we should have a little bit more range of motion opened up from that. We're going to try and sit those hips back a little bit deeper. And we're going to go one more time, pails and rails. So 20% effort, pushing those knees down into the floor. 40% effort, squeezing a little harder, squeezing those adductors. 60% effort, a little bit harder. 80%, squeezing even harder. And safest, greatest effort, squeeze as hard as you can. Radiate throughout the whole body, squeeze those abs. Drive those knees down into the floor. And rails, lift out and away. Using those outer glute, outer thigh muscles to lift those knees up off the floor. Lift, 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 lift. And relax. And sink a little bit deeper into that stretch. Sit there for just a second. And we're going to slowly get out of that. Move those pads to the side there. And we're going to go into our bear sit position. So basically, we're in that same position that we were just in that kneeling wide knee, but now we're upright. So our bear sit position, toes pointed out. I have my elbows against my knees, grabbing onto my ankles, and I'm pushing my knees out away from the body here. And then from here, we're going to do just a push away and hold. Squeezing those outer glute muscles, pushing away, pushing away, pushing away, and then grab, relax, sitting our chest up a little bit higher. We're going to squeeze out and away. And relax, chest up tall, reset. We're gonna go one more time here. Push out and away. And relax. All right, so from here, I'm gonna grab a yoga block. Probably only about 80% of you have yoga blocks at home, so if you don't have one, you just use a shoe or a child or any small object that you wanna try and move your foot over. We're gonna put our hands, we're gonna set that outside of our right foot, hands back, so we got our kickstands pushing our chest up as high as we can. We're still in that bear sit position. And from here, while keeping the chest up in that tall position, I'm gonna lift, nice and slow. We're hovering over that child or football or shoe, tapping that heel on the floor and bringing it back down. We're gonna reset our chest by pushing forward again. The more you lean back, the easier it will be. Each rep, we're gonna try and reset, keep our chest up a little bit higher. So we're gonna lift, keeping those abs tight, slow and controlled, not to injure the football or the baby, and set that heel back down on the floor. Reset the chest up nice and tall, abs tight, lift, hover, slow and controlled, light tap on the floor, bringing it back in. 2 more, chest up, lift and hover, tap, bring it back in, and our tallest chest position yet, lift, hover, tap, all under control. All right, now we're gonna move our object of your choice outside your left foot. Chest up nice and tall, pushing those palms of the hand into the floor. We're gonna squeeze that inner thigh, lift and tap, and bringing it back in. Chest up a little bit taller, reset, abs tight, tap, and back in. Lift, tap, and back in. Reset, chest up tall, lift, tap. There we go. 1 more. Lift, tap, and there. All right. Remove the baby, football, shoe, wine bottle, whatever it is. And from this position, we're still putting our hands back behind us like kickstands, keeping that chest up tall. And now, hands will actually be in front here. Going back to the right leg, we're going to bring this right leg to our chest. Trying to bring that shin, that heel, all the way up to our chest. That's our passive range of motion right there. We're trying to keep that foot or that leg in that position as we slowly let go. So again, chest is up tall. We're gonna start squeezing those abs tight, squeezing those inner thigh muscles, and we're gonna slowly release and hold, trying to bring that heel back to where we had it, up at the chest. Rotating that heel in, and we're gonna bring it back in. Relax, reset. Start engaging abs, adductor, and release, and hold. Grab it, bring it back in. Last one. We're gonna slowly release and hold. Squeeze, 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 squeeze. And bring it back in one last time. And down. All right, moving on to left leg. We're bringing that shin up to our chest. We're gonna slowly release as we engage our inner thigh, abdominal muscles, trying not to lean back. It's tough, but try not to. And bring that shin back in. Reset, abs tight. Engage the inner thigh. And squeeze and hold. And bring it in. We got one more. Reset. Chest up tall, abs tight. And release. Trying to rotate that heel up towards the chest. And bring it back in one last time. And back to our bear sit position. Nice and easy. All right, from there, I'm gonna rotate you guys, hands back. We're going into our 90-90 position. So we're just gonna rotate with our left foot in front now. Scoot back a little bit here. So now in our 90-90, we're trying to pull our chest forward over that front shin as far as we can, get a nice deep stretch on the posterior capsule of that left hip there. So rather than slumping forward, we're trying to keep that spine nice and straight, trying to elongate the spine and try and pull your chest forward over your shin. Once we get to that stretch position, we'll hang out here for just a little bit. And we're going to start moving into our pails and rails from this position again. So we're going to press this front leg down into the floor, into your mat, into your carpet, wherever you're doing this. Again, we're going to start ramping it up with each deep breath. So 20% effort. We're engaging that outer glute, outer thigh muscle to press that knee, shin, ankle into the floor. 40% effort, pushing down a little bit harder, making an indentation into that mat with your knee, shin, and ankle. 60% effort, ramping up a little bit more. 80% effort. Really feel those glute and outer thigh muscles working there. And safest, greatest effort, pushing as hard as you can down into that floor. Make a big indentation of that front leg into the floor. And we're going to go into rails in 5 seconds. We're going to try and pull that front leg up off the floor. You're going to remove your hands from the floor. We're trying to get that inner thigh, groin area to kind of cramp a little bit. So we're going rails and lifting. Keeping that chest position, no leaning back. Squeeze those adductor groin muscles, squeeze, 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 see if you can get them to cramp a little bit. And relax. So we should have opened up a little bit of range of motion there. See if we can get our chest out even further out in front of our shin here. And we're going to go into pails and rails one more time. 20% effort, pressing down into the floor. 40%. 60%. 80%. And safest, greatest effort, pushing as hard as we can down into the floor with that front leg. Create that indentation into your floor. Feel those muscles on the outer glute, outer thigh working. Pushing, 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 pushing. Even harder, even harder. And rails. Lift the hands. Try and lift that knee and shin off the floor. Squeeze those inner thigh muscles. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. Try and get that groin to cramp a little bit. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. And relax. All right, so from here we're going to transition over to the other side by pushing this left knee into the floor, right heel into the floor, and I'm lifting that right knee as high as I can, using that outer glute muscle. Keeping our chest up nice and tall. We're pushing our knees away as we shift from our left hip onto our right hip. Knees are allergic to each other. Pushing, 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 pushing. Out, 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 out. And now we're in our right leg forward position. All right. Trying to get our chest out in front of that right shin. Kind of feel that stretch in the posterior capsule of that right hip. And hang out here for just a few seconds. And 20% effort pushing that front leg down into the floor. 40%. 60%. 80%. And safest, greatest effort, pushing that front leg down into the floor as hard as you can. Pushing that ankle, shin, knee, all down into the floor. Squeeze that outer glute as hard as you can. A little bit harder, a little bit harder. And rails, lift that front leg up off the floor. Lift, 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 squeeze that inner thigh. And relax. All right. So again, we should have opened up a little bit more range of motion. So we're going to try and get our chest out even further. We're going to go one more time here. 20% effort, pushing down into the floor with that front leg, squeezing the outer thigh, outer glute muscles. 40% effort. 60% effort. 80%. And safest, greatest effort. Drive that front leg into the floor as hard as you possibly can. Push, 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 push. And rails, lift and squeeze that groin, adductor, inner thigh muscle area. Squeeze, 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 squeeze. And relax. All right. So we're going to transition back over to the other side again. But we're going to have you stop right in the middle. So I'm pushing that right knee into the floor, left heel into the floor, squeezing that left glute to open up as much as I can, opening up, opening up, opening up. And now we're stopping in the middle, and we're in that bear sit position again. I'm going to flip around so you can see the other side, because we're going to do a little shoulder work here. I'm going to use tennis balls. You don't need tennis balls per se. If you don't have 2 tennis balls or 2 lacrosse balls to squeeze, you can just squeeze your fist. It'll work just fine that way as well. I'm going to flip around. You can see what I'm doing with my shoulders. Holding our chest up as high as we can. I have a ball in each hand here. The first thing I'm going to do, I'm pulling my shoulder blades down and back, drawing my elbows behind my torso as far as I can, keeping my chest up nice and tall. From here, I'm going to extend my elbows as far as I can, trying to get that ball up to the ceiling and trying to touch the balls together behind me. Squeezing, squeezing, squeezing. And I'm going to bring it back in, relax, and reset. Squeeze the ball, draw those elbows back, pinching the shoulder blades down and back, and extend. Trying to get those balls as high as you can, off the floor, touching together, without shrugging the shoulders. Lift, 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 and bring it back in. Relax and reset, chest up tall, squeeze, elbows back, and extend. You got 2 more. Chest up tall. Squeeze. Draw the elbows back. And extend. Lift, lift, lift. Bring them together. And reset. Last one. Keeping those knees down. Chest up. Elbows back. Squeeze those balls and extend. Squeeze those triceps. Shoulder blades down and back. And bring it back in. Let me flip back around here. All right. I'm going to take you into a kneeling position. Again, you can use those folded up towels. Use a mat here. And then I'm going to use this PVC pipe. If you don't have that, you can just use anything to hold on to, whether it's a chair or an arm of a couch, a wall, anything will do there. And we're going to shift our hips forward so that we're going to rotate the pelvis so that you're showing your belt buckle to the sky. And we're going to shift forward until we feel that stretch in the front hip flexor there and that rear leg. So once we feel that stretch on that hip flexor, keeping the pelvis turned, we're going to hang out here for a second. And we're going to go into Pales Rails from this position here. So 20% effort. I'm trying to dig this knee down and forward. I'm trying to pull with this hip flexor down and forward, trying to dig up as much ground with that knee as I can. Going 20% effort. Engaging right there. 40% effort. 60%. 80%. And safest, greatest effort. Drive that knee down and forward. Trying to drag as much ground forward with your knee as you can. Squeezing that hip flexor a little bit more, a little bit more. And we're going to go into rails. We're going to push that knee, driving it down and back, squeezing that glute, but without extending the lumbar spine, keeping those abs tight. Pushing that knee down and back as hard as you can. Push, 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 push. And relax. Shake that one out just a little bit. That's an intense one. And we're going to reset. We should have opened up a little bit more range of motion again. So we're going to tilt that pelvis again, showing the belt buckle to the sky, shifting forward. We feel that stretch on the rear hip flexor there. And 20% effort, driving that knee down and forward again. %. 60%. 80. And safest, greatest effort. Drag that knee through the floor. Pull, 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 pull. And reverse it, rails, pushing away. Squeezing that glute. Drive that knee down and back into the floor. Not extending the lumbar spine. Push, 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 push. And relax. All right. Now we're going to go to the other side. Around here. There we go. Left leg back for me on this one. Hips forward, tilt that pelvis, belt buckle up to the sky, abs tight, and we're going to lean forward into that stretch, hang out here for a couple seconds. All right, 20% effort, we're going to drive that knee down and forward into the floor. 40% effort. 60. 80. And safest, greatest effort. As hard as you can. Push that knee down and forward into the floor. Push, 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 push. And rails. Reverse, driving that knee down and back. Keeping those abs tight. Push, 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 push. Down and away, down and away. And relax. Shake it out a little bit. Reset. Tilt the pelvis, belt buckle to the sky. Shifting the hips forward. Feel that stretch on the hip flexor. From that stretched position, going 20% effort, pushing that knee or pulling that knee forward through the floor. 40%. 60%. 80%. And safest, greatest effort, pull as hard as you can. Pull, 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 pull. And reverse it, rails. Driving that knee down and back through the floor. Squeezing that glute. Driving that knee back, 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 back as hard as you can. And relax. Whew. All right. I'm going to get you back into a seated position. We're going to go into a middle split here. This is one that I always like to do. This feels good. So we're going to get the feet out as wide as we can here. So heels are out as wide as possible. We have our kickstands behind us, palms into the floor, pushing our chest up as high as we can. Again, this one is another one that's going to be easier as we lean back. So we're going to try not to lean back as much as we can. We're just trying to get a full rotation of the thigh. So we're externally rotating to try and get the toes to point away from our midline here. So hands into the floor, chest up tall. We're going to squeeze the outer glute, outer thigh, and we're rotating those feet out to the side. Squeeze, 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 rotate, rotate, rotate. And relax, reset. Chest up tall, and rotate, squeeze those glutes, rotate, 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 and relax. Reset, chest up tall, squeeze the outer glutes, and rotate those toes as much as you can. Rotate, 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 and relax. We got two more. Chest up tall again. Squeeze those glutes and rotate even further on this one. Try and get those pinky toes down to the floor. And relax. We got one more. Reset. Hands into the floor. Chest up tall. And squeeze those glutes and rotate those pinky toes down to the floor. Squeeze those glutes even harder. Rotate, 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 rotate. And relax. All right, so from here, we're gonna go into a figure four position. So let's bring our left foot in and our right leg straight out in front. Do a little hip flexor and quad work here. So for this one, I'm going to interlock my fingers behind my right knee. I'm pulling my knee to my chest, keeping my chest up as high as I can here. I'm going to slowly release my hands, keeping everything tight. And I'm going to extend that knee, pointing my toes back at my face. Squeeze that quad as hard as we can. Keeping the heel up as high as you can off the floor. And we're gonna bring it back in. Hands behind the knee. Bring that knee to your chest. Reset. Slowly release as we engage our core, hip flexor, and extend that knee. Bring it back in. Knee to the chest. We got our last one here. Slowly release. And keep it up, toe to the face. Chest up tall. Squeeze that quad a little bit more, a little bit more. And bring it back in. All right. Gonna reverse it here. Other side. Hands behind the left knee, knee to the chest. Keeping our chest up as tall as we can. We're gonna engage our abs. Hip flexor, quad and release, and kick. Squeeze that quad as hard as we can. And bring it back in. Reset, chest is up tall. Slowly release, and extend, and hold. Squeeze that quad, and bring it back in. Last one, reset. We're gonna get that knee even straighter. We're gonna squeeze our quad even harder on this one. Best for last. Release, extend, hold, 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 and bring it back in. And down. And we're gonna go into our swimmers. We're gonna go into a prone position and use our towel roll here. I'm gonna have to scoot out the way. Actually, I'll rotate this way so you can see. Many of you have probably done this in your programs before. But we're gonna start with our hands behind our backs here, face down, with our forehead on the floor. Our first movement is wings back. We're pulling our elbows away from the floor. We're going to push our hands away. We're keeping our hands as high off the floor as we can, all the way up, rotating the palms down, going behind the head, and then same thing and reverse it. So, face down position. Palms up behind the low back. We're going to go wings up. Pulling our shoulder blades back, pushing up and away, keeping those hands up as high as we can, rotating, palms down, up overhead, and bringing them behind the head. Relax, reset. Wings back, push away and up, keeping those hands up even higher, and behind the back. Relax, reset. Wings back. Push up. Slow and controlled. Up overhead. And yet behind the head. Relax, reset. Wings back. Push up and away. Those hands up high. And back to our start. We got one more. Wings back. Push away. Hands up even higher. Palms down. Reaching overhead. And bring it behind the head. Relax, reset. Wings back. Up and away. Reaching overhead. Rotate the palms up. Behind the back. And reset. Okay. And our last exercise of the day. yoga block back. We're going to be laying on our side. Head on the forearm. You can use your yoga block, wine bottle, football, shoe, whatever this is. We're going to set that out in front. You're pressing down with that top hand the whole time. That's going to lock our torso in place so there's no rotation there. Legs are straight down. From here, I'm kicking forward as high as I can. And then I'm going to lift with that heel directly above the hip, hopefully, and lowering back down. Kick forward, squeeze those abs, lift, up and slowly lower. Kick up, squeeze those abs, lift, and slowly lower. And reverse it. Lift, lower in front, trying to kick that yoga block, and slide that heel back. Lift, bring it in front, slide that heel back. Last one on this side, lift, lower in front, slide that leg back. And we're going to flip to the other side. Finishing up here. Head on your forearm. Top arm out in front. Pressing down into that block, bottle, ball, child. Don't use a child. Surgeon General's warning. And kick up. Squeeze those abs. Lift. And slowly lower. Kick forward. Up. And lower. Kick. Up. And lower. And reverse. Up. Down in front. Slide that heel back. Lift. Down in front. Slide that heel back. Last one. Up. Biggest circle yet. Down in front. Slide that heel back. And we are complete for our movement class for today. Hopefully this works out. If people like it, we will keep recording other ones with new